Kizuna AI's YouTube presence somewhat disappeared during the VTuber boom in the English scene, and a lot of people don't know why. Those curious would often look up her channel and find that she hasn't really gotten with the times of what VTubers are expected to do now, and in terms of views, she seemed to be on the lower end apart from her music content. This gets people intrigued. 2020 was the time of the VTuber boom, especially overseas. Since she was the first and most popular VTuber, shouldn't she have gotten a similar boost in traction too? Well, while we were all distracted with our new waifus, things happened to Kizuna AI, and now we're going to be talking about it. We'll be discussing why Kizuna AI stagnated. Saying that Kizuna AI became irrelevant would be extremely wrong. However, it would also be wrong to say that she did not stumble in her career and fell for mainstream eyes, at least in the West and everywhere else in the world with the exception of Japan and China. Her statistics tells us that she has somewhat stagnated somewhere along 2019 and 2020, and that is strange considering that the years preceding that was nothing but steady growth for AI and her company. Kizuna AI was the darling of the internet for quite some time. Her existence was the start of a brand new genre of entertainment, the genesis of a new industry. She was the godmother of VTubers. One would normally expect that during 2021 and 2020, she should have been enjoying the fruits of the VTuber boom alongside Digisanji and Hololive. One would have expected a surprise resurgence in the English-speaking community. And well, she kinda did. Kizuna AI's momentum never really quite fell in Japan and China, despite everything I will say in this video. She was still the hottest VTuber in Japan during the VTuber boom, she was still getting the most sponsorships, she was the most collaborated VTuber in the gaming market, she was becoming the ambassador of all sorts of transport and entertainment companies, and overall, Kizuna AI was still the go-to VTuber in the East. However, that's where the positives lie, because what really gets people curious is why her YouTube channel is a messy selection of random content, the lower than average viewer count during this time frame, this damning graph implying her fall from grace, and why she wasn't getting recommended alongside other VTubers in the English-speaking community. All of these facts say one thing: her YouTube channel was stagnating. But why? Well, to answer that question, one has to look at why she exploded in popularity in the first place. Kizuna AI blew up because of one thing: she was unique. YouTube in 2017 and 2018 was a time dominated by gaming videos, most especially Fortnite and League of Legends. But there was something of an oversaturation in that community. The formula was always the same for many content creators: pull up the camera, play the game, make jokes, edit, upload. It was a formula that was getting all too stale. It seemed like every other gaming and anime YouTuber was basically doing the same as everyone else. However, in early 2017, a new figure rose from the crowd of oversaturated gaming and entertainment content creators, one so unique and special that it broke through the language barrier and appealed to everyone. That figure was Kizuna AI. AI was the perfect distraction. A gamer and a cute funny anime girl was an ingenious concept, and because of this uniqueness, she was universally appealing to the millennial demographic. People flocked to see what this new waifu YouTuber was all about, and those that did generally liked what they saw.
Fuck you! Fuck you, fuck you!
Because of that, her YouTube channel erupted, blinking to 2 million subs by 2018. Her content was globally pushed by the algorithm, even if they were Japanese, because it was subtitled in a lot of languages including English, Korean, Chinese, French, German, Vietnamese, Spanish, and even Thai. Companies all over the East and West then started replicating Kizuna AI by launching their own 3D virtual girl YouTuber, and some of them actually succeeded, like Mirai Akari and Kaguya Luna. In the following years, AI proceeded to take over the world, as collaborations with big-name influencers and companies all over the planet guaranteed that her name would reach every facet and subculture of the entertainment industry. From gaming, to anime, to comedy, to music, no matter which community you were in, as long as it had something to do with anime and Japan, you knew the name Kizuna AI. Even if you didn't outright watch her back then, she was riding a wave of success that never seemed to end. Then, in May 25th of 2019, she published a very interesting video.
という感じで、私の舞台裏初公開でした。これからも楽しい動画をお届けできるように頑張っていきます。またねー。
Kizuna AI was going to split into multiple clones. One of the clones was going to handle the editing, one would be the gamer, and one would be the idol. At first, this was harmless. The reception to the announcement was actually really warm. People were rather excited about what these new clones would do for the channel. 4 eyes would mean 4 times the fun and cuteness after all. However, some fans expressed concern at what it would mean for the original, because if the 3 clones were fulfilling everything that the original was doing prior to this, then what role was left for her? Yet at that time, the concern wasn't really massive. People could speculate all they like about the fact that the original might get replaced, but there wasn't really anything to enforce that. The original AI was still being featured in the channel, and besides, it was a really good narrative to the Kizuna AI lore. Kizuna AI's kayfabe was that she was an artificial intelligence that wanted to learn more and connect with the world. Her splitting into multiple versions to make that easier actually makes narrative sense. However, in the following weeks, the original AI would be featured less and less from the channel, which gave credence to the worried rats that perhaps Kizuna AI truly was getting replaced. She addressed this in a membership post on the next month, but for the life of me I couldn't find the original article even after joining her membership, so I'm just going off on the testimonies from other people that scribed it. She stated that the company wasn't actually replacing her. She herself wanted this to happen. She wanted to treat her fans for her birthday party by giving them something new to look forward to. She addressed the fact that some people were worried, but gave them the assurance they need, and for a while, it worked. But then Nozume Kasuga, AI's original voice actor, tweeted this. This tweet fueled the narrative that she was getting replaced because the speculators took it as Kasuga expressing her struggles to keep her role in the company. It's important to note that at this time, the fact that Kasuga was AI's original voice actor wasn't actually public yet. However, people already knew at the time because of course they would. Then Kizuna AI's birthday comes on the 30th of June and she releases a song called Sky High, and it had extremely worrying lyrics that served as a major part of the paranoia. The notion was brought up that a splitting plan was made to give the original AI a breather, to which she said yes, but in a rather somber manner, which people raised their eyebrows at. In the following weeks, the original AI was being shown less and less in the channel as the clones proceeded to take over. Hell, even clone number 3 was taking up advertisement spots now. This caused people to keep speculating, and the speculations turned into rage, and the rage turned into backlash. Fans would then attack and harass the clones. Clone number 3 even tried to talk and reassure the fans that nobody was getting replaced, that if the original ever sleeps, she'd be the one to wake her up. But it went nowhere. And the outrage got bigger and bigger the longer the original wasn't showing up on the official channel. It got really heated for Kizuna AI's company, Activate, and AI herself, who at this time was not really addressing the situation as properly as they should have. And while the backlash from Japan and the overseas fanbase was definitely there, a majority of the harassment, paranoia, and misinformation actually came from China. Incidents like when they were unable to meet the original AI during the AI party, the Aigao face that disrespected the original AI's image, the fact that the official Chinese Kizuna AI group chat was getting heavily censored, and the removal of the Chinese subtitles for Sky High all caused them to be the major actor of the controversy. And if you need another indication of how bad it was, it got to a point where when Kizuna AI's Bilibili channel was about to reach 1 million subs, Chinese fans were telling people to mass unsubscribe and demand to have the original AI back. The disaster prompted a response from management, because this kind of thing happening would put the fear of God into anyone, especially if it's a company. Since it was mainly China doing the raging, they only posted this in the Chinese platforms. However, this response didn't actually do jack shit to alleviate the backlash. Again, this stemmed from misinformation and paranoia, which seems to be a running theme with that certain demographic. In the following months, it was no longer just the Chinese official groups that were censoring the fans. Activate themselves were finally stepping in. They were removing comments that mentioned the company's name so people couldn't rat under the comment section. People literally had to use some variation of Activate to talk about it. Soon enough, they posted this announcement, which basically told people why they were doing the cloning thing, and that there was a lot of misinformation. They explained that they understand that what they're doing is not a really good look for them, but will be beneficial in the long term. They explained why the original voice actor was absent for such a long time, that reason being that she was making music. But this response didn't really click with the audience. If they wanted to keep the clones, can't they just give them their own distinct appearances and make them stop copying the original? We don't care about your theme and kayfabe anymore, we just want the original AI back. Can you just please make the original AI be the main contributor to the channel? We don't care if the clones are there, we just want the original to be there more than the others. This was the general sentiment of the fanbase. Some of the fans were more understanding than others, but overall, the press release didn't really quell most of the outrage. They really just wanted the original AI back. But after that, it was cold silence. The clones still proceeded with their activities like everything was normal, and the fans still kept whining about it. It got to a point where even when the original AI was being featured, fans doubted that it was her because her voice apparently changed. That was until half a year later, in January of 2020, the company reported that they actually lost a shit ton of money when this entire incident took place, and this massive loss would cause them to finally address the controversy properly.
今日はね、怒ってる。いつまで経ってもいつまで経っても。キズナアイって仲の人変わったでしょ。4人とかなんだっけ。キズナアイ声変わった。キズナアイ声変わりすぎまだった。初期の方が好きだったんだけどなみたいなやつらが多すぎる。うわー、ろくに調べもせずに感想を書くな。
You get the idea. Kizuna AI herself came to tell people that she was never replaced. The fans were then somewhat assured. However, the damage was already done. Her channel tanked and a lot of overseas viewers left since they did not have a single fucking idea on what was happening. All they heard was that Kizuna AI was getting replaced, and that was enough to turn them off. The language barrier discouraged a lot of them from investigating further too. But there was one thing that the fans still needed an answer for: Nozomi Kasuga's cryptic tweets. And in perfect timing, Activate then later confirmed that Nozomi Kasuga was indeed Kizuna AI's voice actor. They followed this up by announcing that the two clones would have their own separate channels and models. They also announced that the original AI would have full control over the main channel once again and even be given her own separate company. Nozomi herself would be the principal advisor for the Chinese version of AI, reinforcing her position in the company and brand that she had more control. I mean, she wasn't the CEO of the new company, but it told people what they needed to hear. Nozomi Kasuga is and always will be Kizuna AI. And after all of this was announced, after all the fan demands were met, did the drama finally come to pass. Yet it left its mark in Kizuna AI's history. It was a controversy that nearly fucking sank her career if it was left to fester. However, it wasn't just AI that was affected. Because Activate and Update, the company behind Kizuna AI, lost a shit ton of money, the agency, if I could even call it an agency, was losing talents really fast, until eventually they had to disband. So while Kizuna AI was saved, a lot of VTubers had to be sacrificed in the process, some going indie and some retiring because they couldn't support themselves alone. It caused a lot of rage against the company, giving the agency the notoriety as one of the worst VTubing groups ever. Their continuous string of mistakes, despite literally having the industry's biggest powerhouses at the time, led to this extremely unfortunate situation. Kizuna AI fans were happy, but fans of other VTubers under Update weren't, since the agency absolutely sucked at managing their talents. And it's evident in cases like the Kizuna AI controversy that I just talked about, and Oda Nobuhime's graduation, who retired because her management was a fucking circus show. Hehe. This, ladies and gentlemen, was one of the bigger reasons why Kizuna AI stagnated during that time. A lot of fans left because of this, contributing to the decline in YouTube viewership and the slowdown in subscriber growth. However, in hindsight, Kizuna AI splitting wasn't really the main cause of the controversy, and nor was it a terrible decision. From a business perspective, it made sense. They wanted to maximize Kizuna AI's productivity and efficiency so that they could pump out more content. That's ultimately a good thing for the fans and the company. More content for consumers and more money for the company. It's a fucking win-win. Hell, they even had a 200 IQ kayfabe to go along with it. The main problem was the speculators and the rats that were spreading paranoid misinformation that Kizuna AI was getting replaced, and the company's terrible fucking response to it. The drama started in July of 2019, and the company didn't properly respond to it until January of 2020, which was more than enough time to let the misinformation get the better of the community. Now, I have a feeling that a lot of you may not exactly understand why Kizuna AI's voice actor potentially getting replaced is a massive no-no, so I'll be giving you an example. Imagine if Pekora's voice actor was replaced by Kana Hanazawa, or if Gura was replaced by Tara Strong, or if Vox and Mista was replaced by Chris Pratt. These three are good voice actors, mind you, but it wouldn't be the same, would it? Can you honestly tell me that you would still hang out with these VTubers if their voice actors changed? I have a feeling most of you wouldn't, and that you'd probably send death threats over to Cover and Any Color. People watch VTubers for their personalities. In all cases, the voice actor behind the avatar is the VTuber itself. Replace the actor, you kill the VTuber. That's just how it works. It was a lesson that, although unintentional, Activate learned the hard way. And because a lot of people left Kizuna AI, that made them find other VTubers to enjoy, which is the second reason why she stagnated. Competition. In 2019 and 2020, Nijisanji and Hololive was taking over the VTubing industry. Nijisanji dominated the domestic market, while Hololive took over the international scene. Kizuna AI still had the reach and the familiarity, but not many people were actively searching for her anymore. The YouTube algorithm played a part in this too, since it was heavily promoting her competition more, and why the algorithm chose to not really promote Kizuna AI has to do with the third reason, her content. Clippers were one of the main reasons for the VTuber boom, but due to the nature of Kizuna AI's content, there wasn't really any need to translate or clip her, since it would easily just be found on her channel, so no clipping exposure equals no benefit from the boom. But other than that, her YouTube channel didn't really change. At the end of the day, Kizuna AI was just a cute anime girl doing stuff in a room. Her popularity was rooted in the fact that she was new, cute, and unique. But other than Ai's cool new gimmick, there was nothing really fresh enough to keep people engaged. Eventually, being a cute and funny waifu was no longer a good enough hook to have people click on her videos, since there were thousands of other cute funny waifus too. After the novelty was gone and people have seen what a cute anime girl doing stuff in a white cube room can do, what was there to really stay for? To a lot of viewers, she was fun for the first few years, but she did not evolve to keep up with what they liked. A lot of people have expressed their lack of desire to click on her content, and I think it has something to do with this reason. She didn't really change. Her content was still the same and had gotten stale. Instead, it was us that changed. The community, the industry, what people expected and wanted from VTubers. All of that changed. Where we now expect our VTubers to stream and create content live, Kizuna AI stuck to her roots and still mainly uploaded scripted content. On one hand, that's counterintuitive, because if the company really wanted to make money, they should be following the market, now more than ever since Kizuna AI was no longer big enough to be the main trendsetter of the industry. That role has long since been passed to Hololive and Nijisanji. The industry changed under Kizuna AI's feet, so not innovating and not choosing to go along with what the audience wants now is not a really smart business decision. I mean, they tried with the AI gaming channel, but However, on one hand, that's also pretty respectable. She stayed true to what she wanted to make, with some additions and inspiration she took from the mainstream trends now, and in a way, it kind of distinguishes her from the current VTuber formula. So, yeah, all of these reasons are why I think Kizuna AI stagnated overseas. Again, she was still big in Japan and China. Like many Japanese VTubers, that's kind of where they tend to thrive. But with that being said, one more question remains. What is Kizuna AI doing now? She's resting. As all of you may or may not know, Kizuna AI took an indefinite hiatus starting from February of 2020. But before that, she made sure she was going out with a nuclear bang. She called upon 1,000 fucking VTubers all over the world to celebrate it alongside her, and even got us this legendary meme that I have plans of abusing in the future. The last live was the much needed positive note that Kizuna AI left the world with. It was her glory manifested into a visual spectacle, one so massive, emotional, and legendary that it simultaneously made VTubers and fans all over the world cry. It was the culmination of Kizuna AI's achievements, a concert made to showcase AI in her prime, and best of all, it was fucking free. Despite what I said in this video, people know just how important Kizuna AI is to the community. She started this entire industry and paved the way for everyone to succeed. She is objectively the most important and influential VTuber in the world, and I don't think I need to further explain why. Despite her stumble and despite her stagnation in the overseas market, she never really became irrelevant in any sense of the word. In the near 6 years that she was active, people knew the name Kizuna AI and knew that she was the woman who started it all. VTubers revere her like a god amongst men, and that's because figuratively, she is. She is the godmother of VTubers, the literal creator of the genre that we know it as. So while Kizuna AI sleeps for now, she rests well, knowing that the industry that she founded is thriving. I guarantee you this, when the time comes that this super AI wakes up and blesses the world again, it's going to be fucking legendary. An entrance much grander than her exit. Until then, we can watch her new anime that's coming soon. We can forget about that NFT, but hey, no shame if you buy it. I'm still going to silently judge you though. As consumers and fans of the industry that she built, the best thing we can do while she rests is to carry out her will and connect with the rest of the world too. The VTubing industry was built on passion and community, one that transcends through language and culture. It is important that it remains as such. Such is Kizuna AI's dream, after all. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. If you want to correct some of the things I said or add something to the video, please comment it down below. I'd also like to thank you all for 30k subs, and if you want to support me, joining my membership and Patreon will be the best way to do so. Anyway, that's it. See ya.